Okay, let's go. We have a set called the KEFINE Quatio. I'll just call it the new KEFINE because I'm gonna abort that many times. If you're a subscriber to this in the unboxing channel, go ahead and comment below. Give the video a thumbs up. Appreciate the engagement. I'm gonna send this to somebody anywhere around the world. $129 you think is, there's a lot of people that's kind of expensive, and also this is a set that would be safe with most of your library, and it's very well built, and it comes with a very nice cable, and it's got switchable 4.4 3.5 termination. It's coming in at a very reasonable $129. KEFINE, to my estimation and experience with 4 sets, has only missed one time, and the other 2 sets, so 2 I love. 1 I'm not a fan of. This would be 3 out of 4 where I think that this company is doing very well. And for $129, again, cable, switchable termination, very strong build quality. You've got 3 nozzles that you can change from. Let's take a look at the graph provided by Paul. Paul reaches out sometimes and says, hey man, can you show my graphs in video? I'm like, Paul, I'm busy, can you stop? But as a favor to Paul, this is the graph, and it's got silver, black, and gold, and as you can see, the black is probably something I'd like more than the others, and all my impressions that you hear from this point forward are going with the black, which are, you can see when you look inside, that's the black. Otherwise it looks the same. All the nozzles are basically silver, except the front end is silver or gold or black. So my impressions are on the black. So for $129, you're definitely getting your money's worth. The tuning is very safe. It's a Harman tuning. The build quality is very strong. It comes with a very nice cable that is better than some cables that the Aston & Kern collab, I think it was called the Novus. I can't remember who that was. I bought that. I paid full price. Came with a beige cable that was just, it's like they spray painted it with beige paint, like tan. It was just horrific. It was about the same type of weave as this, but it was beige. And because of the paint coating or whatever was on that, it was hard to kind of wrap it up nicely and make it neat like the Camper and the PMG. You couldn't really do that with that set. It was just it was like a rat's nest. And that cost me $4,000 if I recall correctly. So this is a nice cable, and it's not typical in the price range. $129. So you're getting 2 dynamic drivers. One is 10 millimeter, I believe. The other is 8 millimeter. 2 balanced armatures that I'm not sure what they are, but that I'm not stressing on that because this is literally where that belongs. It doesn't belong in $1,000 sets or $2,000 sets. It belongs down here. Again, can you tell the difference between balanced armatures? No, that's absolutely ridiculous. It's the other stuff about that and disclosure and transparency in the hobby that I get on about. And $120, it's not an issue for me. This sounds good. And again, this is kind of where this would belong. Let's go ahead and talk about music. In the low end, Roland 808 drops, that piece of kit that they use, Public Enemy, Nas, Kendrick Lamar, Tribe Called Quest, Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, music like that you might be familiar with, like 90s, 2000s hip-hop. You're definitely going to hear that instrument, and it's got a lot of, that goes all the way back to actually Marvin Gaye. Sexual Healing, I believe, is where the first time that was used on something that was released on the radio, like in the hip-hop or R&B genre. I'm pretty sure it was the Marvin Gaye track. I'd have to go back and look. This does that kind of stuff well. I thought that the drops, when they're substantial, sounded good. I also did listen to Marvin Gaye because it's like the touchstone, because in my head that's where they first started using that in mass released radio play type stuff. The beginning opening of that Marvin Gaye track, I'm pretty sure that sounded really good. 4-string and 5-string bass guitars, the pulls, the plucks, the release, the ringing of the string. This would be where I move out of the like hype and get into, everything's not perfect, and $129. I got the Crescent by Zgat yesterday, and I'm just using it because I just got it, and I was noting that the snaps of the bass guitar. Remember, bass guitar doesn't exist in the bass. It goes all the way out to 6 kilohertz, essentially. So the tuning really up to the middle of the bump that you usually see after the ear gain is kind of really how and what influences how that sounds. The ringing and the snapping is impacted way out of the bass. Listening to a couple tracks, I thought that the Crescent, which I A and B'd, which isn't really effective, I thought it sounded more snappy, and I noted that last night when I was talking on Hi-Fi Guides while I was first really having a listening session with this. The bass replay of this is a little less clean, I guess is the way to put it. It sounds warm, it sounds nice, but right there it's not that great. Now I'll back this or reinforce this with another thing. As we get to Bonham's kick drum, which is very much a produced track off of Led Zeppelin's fourth album. This conveys that quite well. It's very produced, it's very energetic, it's very emphatic. This does that well. As we move into, so the low end is good. If we're focusing on the most particular of the three things, which would be the 808 roll and the kick drum, and then bass guitar, 4 and 5 string. The bass guitar sounds a little bit like the kind of the weak point out of the three. This is very fine and has a good energy. It's not too sloppy for the 808s. The kick drum is powerful and potent. It comes in. The articulation, the way that this presents the bass guitar is a little bit. There are other sets in your collection that will probably do that better. In relation to that, as we move into the mids, and I'm talking about vocals here, Chris Cornell, Lane Staley, Nina doing the cover of Blondie, Always, amongst other stuff that I listen to. Female vocals, you can see Stevie Nicks right down here. Stevie Nicks has got a throaty, kind of husky female vocal, if you're familiar with Fleetwood Mac. When you add a little warmth to Stevie Nicks, it really steps out as being impacting the quality of the performance. She sounds too hussed up. I think other female vocals, maybe it happens quicker because she's already a little, sounds kind of warmed up. This makes Stevie Nicks sound audibly different than what she usually does. And she already sounds kind of, it's like taking a DAP that's got a kind of warmish presentation and pairing it with a bassy IM. You're just doubling up on something. When you take a set that's kind of emphasizing in a way that might not be ideal in the mid bass, and then taking female vocals that already sound like they're kind of like that, then you're going to get kind of a soupy presentation, which was what this does with Stevie Nicks. I didn't notice it with Nina. I didn't notice it with a couple other tracks of female vocals like Annie Lennox, the Wilson sisters from Heart. But with this album and this particular female singer, it was noticeable. Otherwise, I thought the vocal replays were good. As we get into the harmonics and overtones, which is the basically sound created by Event, the stick striking the ride or the crash cymbal, picks pulling on electric or acoustic, with or without distortion pedal, guitars, fingers pulling and plucking and releasing off of bass guitar strings. These are things that are done and that create sound. Those are the harmonics. And that is the area that is most likely to potentially stimulate you. The harmon tuning itself is not really known as being intense, but it does kind of push things forward because of the way. That's kind of why it's fallen out of favor with a lot of people. The Maida, sub-bass dominant. There's other tunings that seem to be more popular right now than harmon, and there's kind of reasons for that. So this is a set that does harmonics decently. Like a lot of some of the harmon tunings, the 8K kind of, then it starts to fall away. It doesn't sound abrupt like somebody's muting their cymbal. It's not that in your face, but there is a sense of being in a smaller virtual space than you might otherwise be in. Remember, these are earplugs. And all earphones really do the same things, even the open back versions. They don't let in a lot of outside ambient noise. So that headphone, like you're in space, you can hear audible cues in your back left and your front right, and you kind of are in you hear the sounds, and then you hear other sounds, which is like being at a live show. Sasfar is one of my favorite sets, and that gives me that. I can hear the computer humming out of the right side, and I feel like I'm in space and I'm listening to music. IMs don't really allow you to do that, though manipulation of the late, upper mids, and treble can sometimes give you a sense of space, even though you're not really, they're earplugs. When you cut away that, you take away that potential anyway. So live tracks like Lynyrd Skynyrd's One More From the Road, the Rattle and Hum, which I'm looking at right there by U2. I still haven't found what I'm looking for. Those sound more, the live track sounding kind of live, like in a crowd, isn't quite conveyed well with harmon type tuning. I feel like I'm being overly critical for $129 sets, so let me back up a little bit. Do I think it's a dumpster fire? No. Hope it was free. For somebody to comment below this video, it will be. Coping is working. Kind of a little bit because I'm a fan of the company and they reached out and said, hey, you want to try this? And I said, sure. So they sent this to me directly. Competes with its peers, $129 absolutely. Very strong build, very nice cable. It's got switchable terminations, multi-driver set, switched nozzles, get 3 different types of tuning. Absolutely competes with its peers. I'd buy it. If I demoed this and I was looking for something in the price range, I actually wouldn't, because the way it treats Stevie Nicks' vocals, which is one of my favorite albums. But I actually don't really shop in this price range that much anymore, and something's got to be quite impressive. If I were shopping in this range and I was paying attention to my money, it would be something I would consider because it strikes all the boxes. The only thing that's really, I don't know which one is more of a potential deal breaker, the mid bass or the lack of energy in the late mids and treble. If I had to pick one, it would probably be the late energy that's not really clearly lacking except for live production tracks. So I'll go ahead and let you guys go. Good set. KEFINE hits another, not home run, but triple. They did really good with this. I appreciate them sending it out to me. It's definitely something you should consider in the around 100, 150 and below price range. Take a look at other people's reviews. Remember, the library is very important. It's the context when people are saying things and it sounds like that's not what the other guy said. Well, maybe he didn't say his other subjective opinion because he listens to different type of music. That would answer probably a lot of people's questions when they're saying, why are there different takes on these earphones? Because people have lots of different libraries. Like they listen to this more than that, and a lot of people's libraries contain music that I don't ever listen to, like original soundtracks, K-pop, J-pop. I don't listen to any of that, so I'm going to have a different take. Good set, couple weak points, balanced out by just its offering at its price range. So it's definitely something you should take a look at. Check out other reviews and try to definitely glean what kind of library the reviewer is speaking about when they're talking about it has too much or not enough or it's perfect for. It's the context. It's like taking a photograph or talking about a camera and the chips that are inside it and how good they are, and if you don't see the photographs and then compared to other stuff, you can't really get what the person's talking about. Or graphics cards, when they're talking about performance versus another graphics card, but they don't tell you a particular game or the settings of that game, so you can't replicate it or even really put it into context. So music is the context. It always is when we're talking about audio gear. So there's that. You guys have a great couple days, and I am out.